Hello Depoksiders! YouWho! Nayya here! Welcome to YouWho, the podcast made just for you. Grab a seat, grab a snack, grab, I don't know, whatever you cling to for emotional support. Let's talk things through. So, we'll be unpacking a very relatable yet conflicting trend, one that you'll find just about anywhere. Today's YouWho Minisode will be all about the excessive use of beauty filters and of those that are labeled as natural filters. And listen, I'm not here to be like, filters are bad, you don't have to use it. I mean, let's be real. Half of us accidentally open our front camera and immediately wish we did have a filter on in real life.
True, like why is my face suddenly smoother than a baby's butt? Why are my eyes 3 times bigger? Why do I look like I'm auditioning for an alien teen drama?
This is an honestly relatable subject on various levels without us even realizing it. Filters here and filter there, it really just starts to make you wonder.
Agree. It's gotten to the point where you take off the filter and you're like, yes, reality. I forgot she existed.
Right on, guys. So we're packing all of that, the good, the bad, the slightly unhinged, and what lies beneath the nature of this feature trend. And because I cannot be trusted to have this conversation alone without ranting about how my filtered face looks suspiciously better than my passport photo, what better way than to unwind with friends? That's where you guys come in. Jeje, Regina, and Echa, welcome to YouWho. Thank you for joining me. The excessive trend with beauty filters is really rising to a spotlight now. Whether you guys seem to acknowledge the way we shape our lives and normalization. I want to know, especially you, Echa, what are your thoughts about this whole excessive trend with beauty filters and the features?
Right. I just thought it became a digital pandemic self-deception in which reality and illusion is not just blurred, but actively being raised often under the natural enhancements. For this fun little tool, maybe can smooth out a tired day has morphed into a societal expectation, especially online, to present a perpetually flawless yet subtly altered version of ourselves. The natural filter is only just a filter blank, only suggesting an achievable ideal. It's an excessive trend because it's no longer about individual choice. It's become a default.
Digital pandemic. That's a powerful word. Especially how filters can really intercept how we perceive the excessive use. I'm starting to question though, is it really worth it in general?
I think I'd like to add that there are negatives, but I also found that beauty filters have positive uses, where lies in the emergence and a growing desire for authenticity and natural filters.
Positive uses. That's interesting. Can you elaborate it further there, Jeje, about the emergence of growing desire for authenticity and natural filters?
So I thought with authenticity and natural filters is direct reaction to the oversaturation of highly created picture-perfect content where users may feel more confidence in themselves expressing their true self, allowing more meaningful connection with friends.
Wow, I think I see where you're coming from, Jeje. So the perspective I can see here is the positive role in enhancing the authenticity without negative parts.
Right. I feel as time goes on, the trend becomes more personal growth. If you can use it wisely enough to maintain natural filters to come far from numerous individuals and communities. Lastly, how and why is it shaped through normalization of usage?
Well, I guess to point it out that about how and why it's shaped natural accessibility, the algorithms play a huge role. When prominent figures use these filters, it legitimizes them and sets a precedent for their followers. It creates a domino effect, and that causes a subtle filter slightly frying your undereyes. And it can be where the danger lies.
I agree too. It's where you don't realize how much has changed until you look back. And the natural branding really sells that idea of just a little bit better, not a complete overhaul.
So, the algorithms and constant uses really shape this rise of the trend. And at first, it may seem harmless and fun, right? But then again, doesn't it start to get a bit too real when you realize that they are also beginning to shape us, our perceptions, and maybe others even? Do you guys find that something's off as well or feel the same way?
Right. In light of what you said in the beginning, that exact thought is what brings up the dark side of these filters when being normalized. Some things that's quite crucial to be pointed out.
And well, for starters, let's not undermine the fact that if you pay attention to the patterns of these popular beauty filters, many of them here that often show up on our pages are commonly labeled as natural filters. But I beg to differ, are they truly?
That's a very interesting point you've made, Regina. The trend makes us question what is really considered as natural and hints at the signs of underlying concern that come with it.
Yes, precisely. And it seems we're all on the same page here, being it quite questionable. Say, Regina, your point really struck me. So let's hear it from you first. What types of concerns do you specifically notice and feel from this trending use of beauty filters?
Oh, I'm up first. Okay then. Maybe I'll start with something that's a bit grounded. I suppose one major concern that first made me begin to view this trend as something that unexpectedly can lean towards the questionable is its effect on users' self-identity image. When we overuse filters, it may gradually shift our view on how we really see ourselves. I mean, personally, coming from someone who formerly used to put filters on many of my TikTok drafts day by day during high school, I started realizing the impact. In short, it's almost as if over time you'll unconsciously start thinking, oh, do I really prefer this version of myself?
Oh, you're really asking the real question there. And it's wild how we users oftentimes don't notice this, given how it became something casual.
Yes, emphasis on it being casual or even daily. Not to mention, from the lens of us prosumers, I also find it notable that certain beauty filters will tend to rise to popularity and, well, maybe like some...
Do you mean to say those filters that land on popular section or most used page? I think that's quite the future on TikTok, isn't it?
Yes, that's exactly what I'd like to discuss. Well, I can't mention each and every one of these filters explicitly in this, well, our conversation. An example that aligns with what I'm trying to convey here is the first types of filter that show up when you search for natural filters. Yeah, so I'm not against the page being a feature, nor the creative approach in making and in the making of these filters. I will admit that it truly is useful to navigate these filters for fun, and that many of them have very cute characteristics and traits in them. But the focus here is normalization. In the long run, this consistency might spark the outcome of what we all know as FOMO, or fear of being missing out. Once it starts seeping in, a user may unconsciously find themselves wanting to always keep up with these beauty filters, and from there, I personally think that this may lead to not only experiencing a change in how they view themselves, but how they perceive the meaning of beauty, or as to say, what is ideal beauty for them in general.
I agree that it's definitely something to reflect on. In this case, using a filter respectively might not be the only cause for a change in views, but just seeing other users using these filters might also make someone second guess how they feel about their look. This may also inevitably take a toll on an individual's self-esteem in general.
Right, it's like a dilemma. We may completely lose track and start comparing ourselves, setting an unrealistic standard, while in truth, we'll all have our own unique quirks.
I guess to sum that up, it all starts out subtle and really it is harmless and it's not bad to use them. But if we were not careful, it may become something we reluctantly want to rely on.
Yeah, the effects are able to alter our views in a habitual way right beneath our noses. Which makes me wonder, stemming from self-identity and image, I think these points also reveal an underlying concern of unhealthy dependency, where this act of normalization affects users' behavior patterns. So, I like to know, from your point of view guys, At what point do you think this excessive use might slowly start turning into a must-do routine?
Yeah, now that you mention it, given if you've become used to the idea, it almost feels like you constantly feel the need to use a beauty filter and feel incomplete without one.
Right. So when a user unconsciously reinforces the cycle, they end up getting caught in it, like a default where you would automatically use a filter out of habit. Have any of you ever experienced something like this before?
I'd maybe like to share one of my own experience. When I was in 9th to 11th grade, I was really insecure about my skin tone, so I relied on beauty filters for almost every photo. It got to the point where I felt incomplete without them, like my real face wasn't enough enhanced. I began to rely on them more often. But when I reached 12th grade, I started to realize that my real skin tone didn't need to be hidden at all. It deserved to be seen and appreciated. And that helped me feel more confident without relying on filters.
That's a really powerful message and must have taken a lot of courage to let out and work through, huh? Thank you for sharing your experience with us, Jeje. I think us speakers here, or users out there, have also similarly gone through a stage of dependency when overusing these beauty filters.
When we feed algorithms, they'll in turn feed us. So in this case, dependency slowly does enter the picture as a concern in which our decisions will reflect the algorithm's influence on us users.
What I mean is that the rise of natural filters actually expose something deeper. People want authenticity, but they also feel pressure to soften or fix their face just enough to appear natural, flawless. It's a contradiction that shows how strong the beauty standards have become, so strong that even our idea of natural is now edited. These filters are marketed as harmless, but they still reinforce the idea that our real skin shouldn't be shown unless it's polished.
So the demand for natural filters isn't merely just about preference. It's a sign that we're trapped between wanting to be real and fearing that our real selves won't be accepted.
That's actually a scary point, you guys. The fact that even our idea of natural is being edited shows how deep this pressure goes. This makes me wonder, are we really choosing these filters? Or are we just trying to survive in a system that tells us our real faces aren't good enough? If looking natural still needs digital help, then maybe the problem isn't just the filters anymore. Maybe it's the beauty standards we keep trying to meet. So, after everything we've unpacked, the motivations and concerns, I think it's time we talk about what we can actually do about it. This isn't just a trend we're passively watching. As prosumers, we actually shape the space we're in.
Oh, this has to be the highlight of today's discussion. In making a stance and a call for trends, we can contribute to possibly providing our own perceptions of feedback or what can be altered in the future.
Yes, I believe our discussion today has provided us with very meaningful input and information to process.
I agree. I think we need to recognize that as prosumers, we have influence both ways. I believe that our mindset plays a big role in it. One of the most important things we can do is avoid comparing ourselves to filtered content. Because the minute we start comparing, we are already playing a game we can't win, a game built on illusion.
Yeah, and the sad part is, we don't actually notice when we're doing it. Sometimes you just doom scroll, which is something I think we all tend to do, through your For You page, and suddenly you feel off about how you look. Without realizing it, you just saw all these filtered and airbrushed faces that's just unrealistic.
And adding to that, we should also think critically before believing what we see online, because not everything shown online reflects reality. As consumer, we have to be smart about the content we take in, questioning what's real and what might use filters, so that we don't automatically assume that every flawless face is something we're supposed to live up to.
Yeah, we have to acknowledge that faces we see online aren't what they actually look like in real life. Their airbrushed looking faces also have pores, textures, and flaws, just like us. They probably also experience the same issues as us.
Exactly. And for the producer side, we also have a responsibility to avoid promoting unrealistic beauty standards in the content we create. Doing so actually harms both of us and the consumers. Constantly having a filter on our appearance can make us feel insecure about our true selves and create constant pressure to, I suppose, always look perfect, even off camera. Also, it can make others feel insecure as well as they compare themselves to an unrealistic standard of beauty, much like what was said about comparison culture.
Right, that's important to point out as well. I think an example of what creators, or maybe anyone amongst us who would like to develop a similar media content, is in the spirit of also promoting unedited content.
Unedited content is a very good example. I believe some creators have already begun demonstrating this by making or uploading posts without using filters. For instance, creators like 𝘠𝘰𝘰-𝘠𝘰 have been posting unfiltered and realistic content for YouTube vlogs or even Instagram posts. She's really open to her audience, showing her and expressing her true self freely while still feeling confident about it.
Oh yeah, I know her. It's really refreshing to see content much like hers, where we get to see people expressing themselves with confidence. It's lovely to see creators promote this type of content, and it serves as a moral boost for what we think of the trend.
Yeah, I agree. Filters can be fun and creative, but they shouldn't become something we rely on to feel confident or even acceptable. We can use it without letting them control how we see ourselves or how others see us. We need to use filters mindfully, not excessively, so they stay as tools for expression, not for something we depend on to feel worthy.
Well, at the end of the day, it really comes down to awareness and balance. And being mindful doesn't mean you can't use filters at all. You just have to recognize your true worth without needing to tie yourself with digital perfection, which in a way is also another message that we'd like to encourage for people to not disregard practicing self-compassion and self-appreciation in their daily lives, aside from how they can alter their ways in approaching media works.
Couldn't have said it better. Self-compassion and self-acceptance in this matter, though it is a process that takes time and isn't easy for everyone, as I concur my own self from my own experience, I believe that in spaces like our podcast and other media contents, should we bring these solutions to life, we won't also be contributing to the algorithmic cycle, but will also be hand in hand helping out each other as prosumers, from one speaker to another.
Well, that certainly was quite the conversation. We've really covered a lot in today's Minisode, and it's been quite the meaningful talk with you all. It really opened my eyes how to see this trend has risen, what possible effects are quietly happening behind the scene, and how we, as prosumers, can participate actively in this matter.
I could say the same, Nayya. And I suppose another thing we want to highlight here again is that we are not telling users to completely stop using these filters.
Right, filters aren't the enemy here, but what we want to point out is that we still need to be mindful about it. As fun and expressive as they can be, awareness is crucial to balance it out.
And note to self for all of us as prosumers. We contribute to both creation and production. So in doing so, reflecting on habits or habitual trends as such is needed to understand how our engagement with them shapes our digital spaces and vice versa.
Whoa, you all sum it up very nicely. We hope that bringing up this talk about excessive use of beauty trends has served as a source of enlightenment and means of self-checking in between for all listeners and prosumers around, just as it has helped us to further navigate the nature of our digital algorithm. And that concludes our Minisode of the day. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us today. This was super fun, and I hope you got something out of it too, guys. Thank you to all who have tuned into YouWho. Keep being real, keep being you. Until next time, goodbye! Goodbye!